Hi, I'm Shaun Reynolds.
And I'm Rachael Reynolds.
And welcome to What Was I Made For?
The podcast about doing what you love and prioritising your happiness.
While we aim to inspire, motivate and entertain you, please note that we're not licensed therapists or certified experts.
So if you're considering major life decisions like starting a llama farm or quitting your job to become a professional skydiving instructor, maybe get a second opinion.
Enjoy the show.
See, I just do what I want, do what I love. I don't wanna stop, don't wanna grow up. Just me being me, don't follow the crowd. Don't be a sheep, look at me now. But now it's time to make more, create more. Looking at the points cause it's time to take score. Feeling like I'm grown now that I can face more. Got one question, what was I made for?
Mm-hmm. Are you going to slurp your tea into the mic? I made a point of making sure I didn't do that.
Through other podcasts
I've
listened to.
It's not an ASMR podcast.
Through other podcasts I've listened to, apparently they get a lot of feedback from people saying they do not like that.
Well, you just did it.
Well, I'll get rid of it then. I'll do it off mic.
Still heard it.
It's so full.
Okay, anyway, are we going to start by explaining what it's
That's
about?
a good idea. Why don't we actually talk about what the idea is?
Yeah.
The name of the podcast is What Was I Made For? It stemmed from me thinking we both do what I believe we were made to do, right? And I feel like we've done that through sheer like perseverance of just like hammering away at something until it works, and also prioritizing your happiness rather than your like academic goals or something, you know,
Or money.
Yeah.
So obviously I run a dance school, and I think we have over 300 students now from age 4 to adult. And I think over the last probably only 6 months, this is quite fresh, isn't it? It's kind of organically happened that
What's quite fresh?
Like what's been happening with like certain students asking advice on I don't know, what GCSE options to take, or to go to uni, to not go to uni.
People do think that there is a formulaic way to get to where you want to be, whether that's, and I'm talking primarily about the arts because I feel like that's just what we know more.
Yeah.
Academic subjects, obviously the best way to go about those things is through education. There's no other way to do it, right? But anything to do with anything like physical, like creative, I guess, it's best to learn as you go and learn on the job. There are times when an educational establishment is not the best place to learn that thing. So it's going to be interesting to learn from the people that are successful in what they do, how they got there, how their journeys differed from each other. Yeah,
reassurance is a huge thing for me that I'd love to give to people, especially young people, and to not be scared to not listen to everyone. So
not be scared to like go against the grain.
To go against the grain. For example, you're at college. I'm venturing back now to when I was at college. You're at college and it's coming up to the time where you would apply to uni and you have to do your UCAS form, your personal statement. God knows if that's changed now. But I do remember that being like, you were wrong to say, I don't know if I'm going to do uni though. So not to be scared to like venture off the very obvious path that maybe 90% of people around you are going to do, to just be like, well, I don't really want to do that. But one thing is that I will preach. You're not going to get anywhere unless you work your little butt off.
Yeah.
Like that is one thing. Actually, we disagree sometimes with this, where I say every single little thing I've done in life, whether I knew it was like completely insignificant to the end goal, I would really want to like excel in it.
Yeah.
Whereas you, if you knew this ain't going to get me anywhere in life, you wouldn't try. You'd just do the bare minimum, right?
Yeah. So I think listeners, especially if you're young listeners, I would probably listen to Rach more. Because my advice, obviously things work for me, but obviously people are going to enjoy what I say more, because my advice is going to be, I don't try that hard with things I don't enjoy. It's just the way I'm made.
Uh-huh.
If it doesn't excite me, if it doesn't really attract or capture my attention, then I just don't have the desire to do it to a high standard. Whereas if I'm in it and I'm like locked in and it really gets me like interested and excited, I will give it all of my energy.
I'm not going to say either.
You know what I'm saying? If you don't enjoy
paths.
maths and English and science and you're like in year 7, you've unfortunately got to give it a go.
Yeah,
you can't just not do it.
Of course. Well, yeah, and I guess that's where I do believe that maybe me really trying in absolutely everything, even the stuff I didn't necessarily enjoy, has that given me the work ethic I have now. So it kind of
So let's just say as we carry on through this podcast, this is the first episode. So going forward, people can make their own opinions of who they want to listen to more, or who they maybe agree with more.
Yeah.
In my opinion, I would say listen to Rach as much as you can, and just take little bits of what I'm saying as a little bit of spice on top.
Yeah, I think the bottom line is chill your beans. You don't need to know what you're doing just yet.
You don't need to know what you're doing just yet. And even if you're our age, even if you're older than us, even if you're a lot younger than us.
I can't believe I just said chill your beans.
Yeah, Jesus. All right, Grandma. There is no pressure to know exactly what tomorrow is going to bring.
But work hard and you'll get there eventually.
Rachael Reynolds. What was your ultimate dream, and what did you want to do
when I was really little?
When you were young, yeah.
At primary school,
all those years ago,
they did an exercise. They probably still do it now, where it was like a cutout of a girl or a boy, very 90s, and
was one pink and one blue,
probably, and it said at the top, when I'm grown up, I want to be. And the exercise was to write down. Do you know what I wrote?
Did you say dance teacher?
Nope.
What did you say?
I want to help the poor people. Swear down.
That's failed. Failed dreams.
And do you know what? I don't know where that came from. I can't stem that back to anything, but that was, my mum still has it. That was the first thing I wrote. I want to help the poor people. And then the next thing I remember wanting to be was a vet.
Makes
sense. Then I realised that I'd have to deal with animals dying. That made me sad. So scrapped that idea. Then the next time I remember having a real this is what I want to do, was work experience. And again, I have spoken to quite a few of the kids or the teens at the school when they get to work experience age. I've had a couple do work experience with us, but I've also had a few who want to go into the arts who have come to me and said, where would you do work experience? And again, I was just like, God, if I'd actually thought about this at that age, I probably would have just chosen something totally random that would give me an insight into something that I would never, ever otherwise have an experience doing. Unless, if you really know what you want to do, again, it's a good opportunity. But I went and did work experience at the local primary school because that's where everyone went.
What do you mean everyone went there?
It was like, I remember it being one of the top, when they recommend.
But doing work experience as what? A teacher?
Yeah, a teaching assistant at primary school. And I think this just shows how influenced you can be as a young person, because that was I was like, yeah, I'm going to be a teacher now. Or
if it might be influence, or it's literally just going with the flow. Everyone else is doing that, so that seems like an easy option. And rather than go against the grain and be the odd one out, you just go with what everyone else is doing.
Yeah, and my friends went, and there was a bakery opposite, so that's where we were going to spend our lunch break, and that seemed really fun.
We didn't have a place though that everybody went to do work experience.
No.
Guess what I did for work experience?
Yeah, what did you do?
I guess.
Well, you would have been too young to work at a bar.
Yeah, definitely. And it's not something you would think I would do. And it's
office-based?
On the only reason I think of it is so obvious is because it's on the In-Betweeners.
Mechanic.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
I did work experience at a mechanics garage. Honestly, that episode of the In-Betweeners is exactly
what they pulled your pants down, put you in the boot, and chucked you in the leg?
Pull my pants down. But they said to me, the first day I got there, by the way, it's tradition that we, I don't know if they throw you in the lake, because I think I'm probably just thinking that's what happened in the In-Betweeners, but they did something to you to initiate you or something like that. So yeah, that episode is pretty much exactly in my mind how it went down.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. Anyway, sorry, carry on.
Yeah, so after that work experience, I was like, yep, going to be a primary school teacher. Now, looking back, this is what I think is fascinating about actually, if you end up doing the thing you love, you've probably always potentially had an interest in it. Because if I look back now, I was teaching my little cousins dance routines on a weekly basis at my nana's house when we went round for Sunday roast, fully planned out, lyrics printed, costumes, the lot. So in amongst all of this, like, oh, I'll do this for work experience, and oh, I'll choose this for my GCSEs, and oh, I'll do that at college, performing arts has always been there but I never thought that was a career.
Did you do a GCSE then?
I did drama. Drama,
that's
GCSE.
Close as you can get, isn't it?
Yeah, drama and art. And then obviously all the academic ones that I chose as well. And I'm going to go off on a tangent now, but this is the other thing that really annoys me about the arts, or about people's opinion on the arts, is a lot of people think people with a career in the arts is because they're not academic.
Yeah, and I know that Rachel's going to want to say this as well, that she got the top grades in her school.
I don't want to say it,
but you
because
did.
But I do.
Tell me that wasn't something that was on the tip of your tongue.
Yeah,
that you were like,
no, I'm joking. And I know, but the reason, not that I've done anything with those GCSEs, right? And I was just good, I think, in an exam environment, and I was good at like taking information
and teacher's pet.
Yeah,
so you just wanted to show off, right?
Yeah, probably. I just wanted to make my teachers happy, probably. But sometimes I'm like, I do want people to know that, because I didn't go into the arts because I wasn't good at anything else. I went into the arts because it's my absolute passion. It's what I love. But I think without maybe some of the academic side, maybe the business wouldn't be running the way it is. I don't know.
Oh, well, you definitely need an element of maths knowledge.
Yeah.
English knowledge.
Yeah.
Not sure how much science comes into it, but you did double science, didn't you? You were in the triple science.
I did triple science.
My God, Rach.
Yeah, I know.
Proper little boffin.
Yep. What a dork. Anyway, so then
I got offered. This is another one of those examples. I got offered triple science and turned it down because I had to stay after school.
Wow.
Why would I do that? Who would do that?
I won a science award.
Oh,
that did nothing for my street cred.
Why isn't that on the walls?
I know.
Street cred, Rach.
How many old terms?
Add street cred to the wall.
Yeah.
Street cred.
Yeah.
You wanted to do the art. You wanted to do performing arts throughout your educational journey because that is what you loved.
I loved it. I was in every school production from primary school. So
just dancing, or
nope, I was Jack and the Beanstalk. Wouldn't let my mum and dad come and see me. Had a really weird thing about that, so they had to sneak in the back. I was Charlie in the Chocolate Factory at my local drama group. Got stage fright on the day that I was supposed to play Charlie. So backstage, there's two of us that shared the role, so we did like half the run each. And backstage, I freaked out because all my family were in the audience, because I had like the main role in Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, and I was like, can't do it. So I let the other girl go on. So my whole family were in the audience, and like the show starts, and they're like, "That's weird. Like, where's Rach? Like, she's not come out as Charlie. Like, there's the other girl playing Charlie. That's really weird." And then it gets to the point in the show, Oompa Loompa came out as an Oompa Loompa.
Were you not supposed to?
That was my second role. Oh. So I shared the role of Charlie with this girl, and on the nights we didn't play Charlie, we played an Oompa Loompa.
Right.
So my whole family were in the audience to see me as the starring role. I was an Oompa Loompa. So, but yeah, again, the sidetrack. But the point is, every opportunity to perform, I was like, yep. Count me in, but never ever thought that was going to be anything to do with my career.
It's funny, isn't it, when you think about stuff like that, because the thing that you just loved most in the world has become your career in some shape or form. It's not the same as maybe you would have imagined it being, but you have managed to turn your dream and your passion into your full-time job, even though people still say, when are you going to get a real job?
No, what do you do in the day?
Yeah, what do you do in the daytime? Yeah.
So yeah, even though looking back is what's interesting now is actually it's always been there. Like I was doing what I now have a business doing for free as like a 10-year-old with my cousins, my friends. Oh God, I don't know how I kept friends and still friends with them today, because they would come round for like dinner on a Friday night at mum and dad's, and I'd have a whole thing that I was going to choreograph and teach them planned out, and they do it.
What I will
them.
say, Rach, is that there is a reason why all of your friends and a lot of your family don't do the performing arts, and that is because you drummed the passion out of them. They probably enjoyed it. They probably enjoyed it quite a lot back then, but you literally made them do it like it was. You probably had them as like, you cast them in your show.
Yeah.
First of all, against their will, and then 2, made them dance in front of their friends and family. Yeah. And that probably was like, yeah, this ain't for me.
Traumatic.
I'm going to be a teacher, or I'm going to be.
And I remember
whatever.
as well, like at the end of every Sunday, at the end of like the roast dinner at my nan's, all of the grown-ups being like, right, kids, time to go home. I'd be like, nope, I've got a whole show planned. Like, come take your seats. There was tickets.
You made tickets?
Yeah, I made tickets.
That's a bit extra.
I was extra.
That was unnecessary.
My nan had one of those lamps. Actually, I think mum still got one, but one of those lamps that, like the uplighters, that's got the extra arm, the bendy arm.
Spotlight,
that's my spotlight. Yep. Yeah, loved it.
I've seen some footage, and
Have I improved?
I'm sure everyone at home is imagining that you were like, 10, 11 years old at this point. I've seen some of the footage, the home movies of these shows. You're like 15, 16.
Oh, it continued.
You're like, you've got your hair done. You're like dressed up as a normal teenager.
Yeah.
And you are just like orchestrating this whole
generous
thing that's happening, and then just sat back. Look, to be fair, like you do now with the kids at school, just sat back being like, I made this.
Yeah. Camera pan to me.
Yeah, it's being like, although they're the performers, I did this.
Awful. Just awful.
Yeah.
But I loved it.
I know.
I loved it. So I loved school, and I know that is not the case for so many kids now, because thank the Lord we were born when we were born, because I would not want to do school now with social media and stuff like that. And that definitely plays a massive part. I'm not saying like if kids just choose all the subjects they love now that they'll have a great time, because I think there's a lot of different pressures.
Oh, you've still got to get through school.
100%.
I prefer college.
Yeah, I could take it or leave it.
I didn't go to...
I went to a college, so it was cool to wear your own clothes. It was cool to get the bus there. It was cool to have free periods. I remember that, like, oh, I've got 2 free periods in the middle of the day today. Let's go into Red Hill and get lunch. Like, felt like a proper grown up at college, and people started learning to drive, and then people started turning 18. I didn't, because I was born at the end of August, so couldn't drive until pretty much the end of first year, and I never got to go clubbing with anyone because I turned 18 in the summer holidays when we all left. Rewinding slightly, another thing that I know not everyone is blessed with, hopefully a lot of the kids at the school are, but the most supportive parents ever, who actually would have put me through if I'd got in Brit school, asked if I wanted to audition at like specialist performing arts colleges, and I always
they were all for you doing it.
I always turned it down, because I was like, no, it's not what I want to do, it's just what I love. So I turned all of that stuff down. When uni forms came up, I just did what my friends did. I always did what my friends did, and I wouldn't recommend that, even though I wouldn't change my story.
Which is funny though, because I wouldn't say you're much of a follower now.
Not now, but I was at school. I think I was just always like, well, if they're doing that, they must think it's a good idea, so I'll just do that.
Is that laziness, or is that just going with the
definitely flow? Being scared to do anything on my own. Well, even my auditions for uni, I remember I did all of my auditions with my best friend at the time, and we went to every single one together. And I remember there was one uni that I actually really liked. I did really well in the audition as well. I think they offered me a place, and but my friend didn't get offered that one. So I was like, well, I won't go there if you're not going there. And obviously I wouldn't have met you. I do think like
you wouldn't have had the name Reynolds.
Wouldn't have had the name Reynolds. Yeah, Rachel Ansell School of Dance
doesn't have the same ring.
Doesn't, no. I wouldn't change anything about my story, but I definitely learn along the way, and wouldn't recommend necessarily doing what I did with like following your friends. Like, you get an amazing at this uni, what had a really good rep for performing arts as well. Anyway, only did uni because my friends were going. Only chose performing arts, musical theatre, dance because it was the only thing I was like, I could justify spending that money on because I loved it. So I definitely wasn't in the headspace that I know some college age kids are, where they go, let's think logically about how much money I'm about to spend on uni and what that's going to get me. Definitely didn't think that. I went, what do I like doing? Dancing. Cool, let's do that.
All right, so to put a long story short then, what did you want to be when you grew up?
Yeah, a vet, then a primary school teacher. Then I honestly don't think I knew. So I just continued to do what I liked. Actually, I remember the first time someone said to me something along the lines of, but what are you actually going to do?
What do you mean do when? When you leave uni?
No, it was after I left uni, and it was when I had set up my own fitness business that was pocket money.
Big up LGP.
Big up LGP. Pocket money. And I was doing loads of other jobs. I can go through like all the random jobs.
So without going into detail on every single one, let's list off the top 10 jobs that Rachel Ansell at the time had.
First job, paper round. Then age 16, card fair in Red Hill.
Closed down now.
Closed down now. All I remember about
fair.
that job is being really scared of the helium machine. So if anybody ever bought a helium balloon, I knew I'd have to fill it. That really freaked me out. Yeah, I just thought it was going to explode, and always had cold feet when I left. So my dad used to pick me up and he'd heated up the footwell of the car.
What do you mean you always had cold feet when you left?
It was really cold in there. That's where my bad circulation started.
I thought you were saying about the helium thing. No. And it always gave me cold feet.
It was just a really old unit that card fair was in.
I was going to say, solve that problem, Rach. Put some shoes and socks on when you do the balloons.
I had layers on my feet. I had a little heater behind the counter. Anyway, then Pizza Hut, best job ever. Still huge place in my heart. Still people who I have managed to cross paths with now.
Which is now KFC.
Which is now
Sad
KFC.
Times.
Yeah.
You were working there when it closed down, weren't you?
Yeah, it was like the
saddest thing ever. Were you the reason why?
No. I was good at that job. I was really good at that job, which lulled me into a full sense of security that I could do all hospitality. Not the case when I got a bar job. That was a disaster.
Yeah, but you got there in the end.
Worked at a pub. Remember a lady ordering a St. Clement's, had no idea what it was, freaked out.
Yeah, but that's an old
I know,
old drink.
She didn't help me. Had to make...
do you know what it is? Can you still remember what it is?
It is orange juice and bitter lemon.
Yeah.
Well done, brain. Didn't know that was still up there.
Yeah.
Had to make floater coffees. Awful.
Oh, they were the worst.
Awful.
They were the worst.
Yeah, wasn't very good at that job until there was a Michael Jackson tribute night. Smashed that shift. It was like I'm good at working under pressure, I think.
Yeah.
But I didn't last that long there. Lasted even less time.
Through choice, or did you get fired?
No, I think I left. I don't think... I've only ever been fired once.
Rachel Ansell... Oh, you have been fired?
Yeah. And it wasn't really a firing. I just didn't get asked to go back.
Where's this?
It was a catering company. Very small time local catering company.
Yeah.
Tesco.
Yeah.
That was... Then I went to a temping agency.
And Summers.
In the warehouse. But not in the warehouse, in the returns department. That's also all I'll say about that.
Really? You're never going to go into detail about that? Maybe in a later episode.
Maybe in another episode.
Maybe when we've got no guests, we can go into the nitty-gritty of all of our jobs.
Most people could put two and two together over what that job entailed.
Yeah.
So did that, and then it was during that I worked at a children's nursery, and then went back to my dance school to assist and go back to classes with the lady who ran that.
The lady, like you're not going to name her.
The one and only Samantha Lane. Went and assisted in classes there. Loved that. It was the only thing I liked doing. Set up my own fitness business. Mm-hmm. And that was the first thing to open a door that I thought was going to be a great door. Turned out was the biggest learning curve of my career so far. And then I would say the first time I actually felt like I had a career was when Sam offered me the dance school. So she had run Jump Theatre School for 10 years, of which I had been a student.
Well, you'd been a student since before it was even Jump.
Yeah, again, that's a whole story about how, that's...
Well, we'll get Sam on to talk about that.
Yeah, that'd be great. But, at Jump Theatre School, I'd been a student from the beginning when it launched, then was an assistant teacher, then was a teacher when Sam went off and choreographed for the Olympic opening ceremony. I took care of the school for her. And then after 10 years of her running it, she went off on her next journey, which I'm sure if she would ever come on the podcast, she would talk about. And she offered me the school and gave me free reign to rebrand it, rename it,
and we've never looked back.
With it. And Rachael Reynolds was born.
I would say you run an extremely successful dance school, right? What is it that you truly believe that you were made for?
Oh, it's so cheesy. I've never been more sure of anything in my life. It is what I'm doing.
What? That's what you believe you were made for? Exactly what you're doing right now?
100% to teach.
But what part of it?
I think it's to bring light, happiness to people's lives. And it just happens to be that it's in the performing arts industry. But I couldn't... The thing that fulfills me the most is knowing it's an escape for people. I come home happy every day because I can see people love that hour. So
but going, like, to summarise, you went from wanting to help the poor people, to being a vet, school teacher, which I'd say is not a million miles away from what you wanted.
I suppose not.
And then you spent most of your teen years, all of your teen years, wanting to do performing arts, but you didn't think it would be your career.
No, actually, I do. I remember as well being at uni, and my dance teacher at uni, who I also have a lot to thank for, he really did give me a couple of opportunities and saw something in me, which I'll always be grateful for. But I remember one lesson in our third year where we were kind of talking about the future, all of us talking about the future and what we all wanted to do and whatever. And he went, question, would any of you teach? And a couple of people put their hand up. I was like, no, I'm not going to teach. I am the person that's going to be performing. I want to be on stage. I want to be on TV. I want to do this. And I remember a couple of people being like, Rach, why would you not? And I'm like, I don't really want to teach. And they're like, you'd be really good at it. And the teacher at the time, he was like, yeah, I'm really surprised you haven't put your hand up. I'll never forget that. Because that's how much I did not see myself.
You see, that surprises me, though. Because this is something I've said to a lot of people recently. One of the main things I try and do as I'm getting older is I've tried to really dissolve my ego. To really, get rid of that part of my personality, because it does nothing for me and has never done anything for me. All it does is make me seem like a bit of a dick. And I think when you talk about when you thought you might be better than teaching... You're not like that now. So at some point along the way, your ego did disappear.
Yeah, I was going to correct you actually and be like, no, I didn't think I was better. But actually, if I had to put myself back in that...
But it's okay though.
20-year-old brain.
18, 19, 20 years old, you do have an ego.
Probably did think you only teach if you don't make it as a performer yourself.
Mm-hmm. But I think that's like a common thought amongst people who train in the arts is... Teaching is what you do if you can't perform. Which,
in a way, it's not that far from the truth, because some of the best teachers are not the best performers. No,
but some of the best performers don't get paid well enough to do that all the time.
True, but I think I'm a way better teacher than I ever would have been a performer.
I don't know, you might be selling yourself short there.
Yeah, because actually it's because...
Because you're like, actually, I'm a great performer too.
Yeah, I'm pretty good.
You are though, I believe that.
No, we're cutting this.
No, we'll keep that in. No, I'm keeping that in.
No.
I like it. So to close then, We've gone through pretty much your entire life. I feel like there's a lot more we could talk about, but we'll save that for future episodes. What is one piece of advice, if this is the only episode that people listen to, right, of this podcast, what is one thing you would say to people, and we'll keep it brief. What is one thing you would say to any young or old about if they want to do something in life, if they want to be a certain thing, if they want to change careers, what bit of advice would you give them?
Just one bit. 3 things came to mind, but I'll do the one. Just work hard. So if you're given a task, right, just put your all into it, because even if you don't really know what the point is, you do not know what lessons that's going to teach you, or what
skills you'll learn.
The skills you may learn that one day, and the work ethic that you may have to thank one day for putting your all into that task. Just work hard. Just put your all into it, because you don't know what that's going to spark in your brain. Even if it sparks, I never want to do that again. Fantastic. You know now, because you've put your all into it. And be a good person. Work hard and be a good person.
Nice. So I guess we have to figure out how we're going to sign this off.
Oh, I tell you what you should say is we have got socials and stuff, haven't we?
We do, yeah. You can follow us on Instagram. We'll be posting when each new episode comes out. The episodes.
Got TikTok?
We do have TikTok.
No way.
Yeah, but obviously there's nothing on there right now. But there will be when this episode goes out. So we'll post clips on TikTok, on Instagram. We've got a YouTube channel, which is where I think these video episodes are going to go. Mm-hmm. But yeah, follow us on Instagram, on TikTok, on YouTube, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. Leave us a review. I've heard that helps.
Oh, that's nice.
I've heard a nice review though.
Definitely. Preferably. Yeah, we'll
5 stars only, please.
Can you delete the rubbish ones?
You can't.
Oh, no way.
Yeah. 5 stars only, please, because that will really help us reach more people. Because I think one of the extra aims of this podcast is to reach more people outside of the dance school, which would be nice.
Definitely.
There's too many young people and people that don't know what they're doing with their lives that could maybe do with hearing from all the people that we're going to be getting on here as guests and hearing how they got to where they are. Mm-hmm. That could be beneficial to a lot more people than just the people that are in our circle.
Yeah.
See you next time, everyone. Thanks for listening.
Bye. What Was I Made For is a Reynolds Studios production.